Hello, good evening. You're welcome to Big Family Radio. Now, the headlines for the news. Chief of Staff has led the second Kwewu Business Forum event to boost entrepreneurship. I feel tempted to laugh at how the NDC is struggling to fight the Galamsey anytime I see them, says Miracle Abwaje. National Road Safety Authority has ordered 21 days removal of billboards from footbridges and overpass in Greater Accra. Harvard risked $9 billion in funding fight with Trump administration. Efia has said the only thing that can bring happiness is Jesus Christ and not plastic surgery. Let's go for a quick commercial break, and when we are back, I would give you the details of these stories and more.
Admission, admission, admission. Are you looking for a computer institution with a serene atmosphere in equipping you with the ability to deepen your understanding and in-depth knowledge in computerization? Then the answer is Big Family Multimedia Institute. Our dedicated and experienced teachers are ready to provide personal attention, support, and help you bring your fusion to bear. We are located at Amasama Dobrogono, Upper Class Junction, and Santa Maria Family and Friend. For more information, contact 0555 20 80 56 0540 932 188. Website bfmnetworks.com. Email info@bfmnetwork.com. Other affiliates include Center for Trade, Big Family TV, Big Family News, Big Family Radio, Big Family Event, Big Family Multimedia Institute, KabaraInfo.com, Trustees, Okman Motors, Soko Mall, ABK TV Ghana. Enroll now and experience the difference.
You are all that
You're welcome back. My name is Esther Koshagbobli. Now the details of the story. President John Dramani Mahama has tasked the Chief of Staff, Julius Deborah, to give spearhead the second edition of the Kwewu Business Forum, a strategic initiative aimed at fostering entrepreneurial growth and strengthening businesses across the country. The forum, to start from Saturday, 19th April 2025, at Kwewu in Prayeso in the Eastern Region, forms part of the government's broader agenda to stimulate private sector development and reduce unemployment through enterprise-driven solutions. He added that the president's vision is to create a legacy of business growth where the private sector becomes a key driver in job creation and economic expansion. The Chief of Staff revealed that the government anticipated significant economic benefits from the forum, including increased revenue generation and investment opportunities. He added that the event would be an annual affair, with plans to expand its scope in subsequent editions to cover more sectors and regions. We are committed to making this a sustainable platform where entrepreneurs, investors, and policymakers can coverage to shape Ghana's economic future, Mr. Deborah said. The three-day event will feature panel discussions on entrepreneurship and business innovation, networking sessions for startups and investors, policy dialogues between government officials and industry leaders, and exhibitions showcasing local and international business opportunities. Stakeholders from various sectors, including finance, agriculture, technology, and manufacturing, are expected to participate in the forum.
To come into the economy, because once a business starts, it stimulates the local economy where the company will be the business is started, and people get employed, they get money, and they pay their taxes, they buy other products from other people, and then our economy is stimulating and growing. And so I think what he intends achieving is that he wants to grow businesses. He wants to be remembered for one thing, that during his tenure, at least, if for nothing at all, he brought up the conversation, invited business people, and asked them to start something. Not just starting, but encouraging banks to give them the necessary support so that we will develop our nation. At least each of the banks that will show up are going to pick 5 projects, 5 bankable projects for this year. And they expect that next year when we return to Kwewu, they will invite those 5 people that they helped or assisted to come and testify. So if this continues for the next 5 years, each bank picking minimum 5 people, 5 enterprises to support, the following year doing the same, I'm sure by the end of his 4-year tenure, we'll have over 600.
Away from that story, the communications director of the 2024 Baumia campaign, Dennis Miracles Abuaje, has said he is sometimes tempted to make a mockery of how the governing National Democratic Congress, NDC, is handling the issue of illegal mining in the country. According to him, the NDC, while in opposition, assumed that addressing illegal mining was a simple task and refused to heed the warnings and explanations given by the then governing New Patriotic Party, NPP administration. He stated that sometimes when he wakes up and he sees Galamsey issues and the way this government is struggling with it, he feels like just laughing at them because we told them and they knew what we were saying was right. He explained that before the 2024 election, the then opposition NDC made promises that gave hope to illegal miners, despite being cautioned against doing so. Mr. Abuaji claimed that senior figures within the NDC, including President John Mahama in 2024, promised to open the floodgates for illegal mining to continue under the guise of creating jobs. We told them that it is wrong for them to go and stand on a campaign trial as a presidential candidate and tell the people that I don't see the reason why the NPP would come and arrest them. People in the pit, and that when I come to the office, I will release you all the Galamseyers. That is what he, John Mahama, said, he claimed. Speaking on the politicization of the Minis, he argued that the NDC is doing very little and stressed that the government just must take the right steps to bring the practice to an end. He emphasized that the act would not end unless it is depoliticized, stating, until we depoliticize Galamsey, no matter the structures put in place, it will not work.
Galamsey is a social canker. It's a menace that if you politicize, the country will be extinguished. And so we should be careful the manner in which we attempt to politicize Galamsey. The reason why now, sometimes when I wake up and I see Galamsey issues and the way this government is struggling with it, I feel like, let's just laugh at them. It's because we told them and they knew what we were saying was right.
What did you say?
But we told them that, listen, it is wrong for you to go and stand on a campaign trail as a presidential candidate, and our president, Mr. John Mahama, and tell the people that I don't see why the MPP government will come and arrest you people in the pit. And that's when I come to office, and it's on your portal, my Joy News, I would release all of you Galamseyers who were arrested in the pit and give you escalators and go for the kingpins. That is what he said. We had NDC apparatchiks, top leadership, the current CEO of the Petroleum Hub Corporation, Dr. Tony Obeng, and NDC leadership, Kwaku Boahen and co, in the Galamsey pit, telling Galamseyers that the MPP wants to destroy your job. This thing, we've been doing it since ancestors' days, and it's a video, so the fact is there.
Moving on to other stories. The National Road Safety Authority, NRSA, has issued a compliance notice to all assemblies within the Greater Accra region, instructing them to remove outdoor advertising billboards mounted on gantries, pedestrian bridges, and vehicular footbridges. The directive follows concerns that such advertising structures violate the Services Advertising Specification for Outdoor Signs, GS 847/2019, which clearly states that the primary and the sole function of road or bridge acts or gantries shall be for the purpose of traffic management. According to the National Road Safety Authority, assemblies have 21 days to comply with the directive, after which enforcement measures will be taken against defaulters. The Director General of National Road Safety Authority, Mr. Abraham Amaleba, added that they are taking this action to reduce visual distractions on our roads and ensure that structures like footbridges and overpasses serve their intended purpose, safe and efficient traffic management. The authority emphasized that the move is in the interest of public safety, and this is not just a regulatory requirement, but it's about protecting lives. Advertising cannot come at the cost of road safety. Then NRSA is calling on all stakeholders, including advertisers and municipal authorities, to work together in complying with the order to ensure safer road environments.
The footbridges or vehicular bridges, the face of the bridge are not meant for advertising purposes.
Right.
They are meant to direct. So, for instance, road signs. And so when you are on the Spanner Junction towards Legon, you will see road signs such as N40, Medina, Legon, Dodua.
Yeah.
It is meant for that. Now, when you put your advertising billboards there and it covers it, then you defeat the purpose for which the gangways and then the footbridge face are there. So we've given them 21 days within which to do that. Failure to remove them will proceed to court for an enforcement order. And so don't be surprised to see road safety.
In other stories, the mayor of Kumasi, Richard Ofori Ajaman Boedi, has sounded a warning to cattle owners and roadside traders, unveiling a no-nonsense plan to restore law and order in Ghana's second largest city. At a news conference held on Monday, April 14th, the mayor announced that effective May 1st, any stray cattle found within the Kumasi metropolis will be seized, slaughtered, and handed over to the Kumasi Central Prison to feed inmates. He added that there is another thing he would want to help him look at. If anyone have cattle and if they stray in the vicinity of KMA, be assured that from May 1st, they will be killed and given to Kumasi Central Prison for food, especially the routes from the airport through to Menshia Palace, Mr. Boedi declared. He expressed frustration at the sight of roaming cattle, particularly along high-profile corridors like the stretch from the Kumasi airport to the Menshia Palace, which he said tarnishes the city's image in the eyes of visitors. I cannot sit for visitors to come to Kumasi from the airport to Menshia, and all they see are facial matter from cattle, he lamented. The directive marks an escalation in efforts to address the long-standing nuisance posed by stray animals in urban Kumasi, a problem that has triggered numerous complaints from residents and commuters alike. In a related development, the mayor issued a 2-week ultimatum to traders operating on pavements and along the roadside of the Central Business District, CBD. He warned that the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly, KMA, will beginning Wednesday, April 16th, launch a major decongestion exercise to reclaim pedestrian walkways and restore order. According to Mr. Boedi, traders who flout this directive risk facing severe sanctions, including, controversially, the threat of being physically beaten.
There's another thing I want you to help me to drive at. If you're a cattle owner and you have cattle and your cattle stray and they are coming into the vicinity of KMA, they can go to any assembly. That's not my headache. If they are coming into the domain of KMA, be rest assured that from the 1st of May, those cattle will be killed and be given to the Kumasi Central Prison for feeding. And I'm serious about this. Especially the areas from the airport leading up to Menshia. I cannot stay and let visitors get to this beautiful airport. And when they're driving to Menshia, all that they encounter is feces from cattle. This is one aspect. So if a cat, please drum it home, let them hear this, that from the 1st of May, I'm saying it, put it on the media, I won't say it again, from the 1st of May, we'll start arresting stray cattle that are within the domain of the KMA. I will make sure that once we catch it, it goes to the central prisons. So please help me get city to be disciplined.
Moving on to other stories. Hundreds of people in northern Ghana, mostly older women, continue to live in fear and extreme hardship after being accused of witchcraft and forced from their communities, according to a new report published Monday by Amnesty International. The report, branded For Life, How Witchcraft Accusations Lead to Human Rights Violations of Hundreds of Women in North Ghana, reveals how more than 500 people, primarily women aged 50 to 90, are surviving in 4 informal, which comes with inadequate access to food, healthcare, safe housing, clean water, or economic opportunities. The camps are overseen by local religious leaders and offer basic refuge. But conditions remain there. Ali Mata, a resident, said, "Water comes down through the roof when it rains." Once a shea nut harvester, she now relies entirely on others for food. Amnesty criticized the government for failing to provide basic support or reintegration pathways for victims. They have no means to support themselves, and yet there are no government programs to help them recover, said Marcio Cividoe, Amnesty Interim Regional Director for West and Central Africa. Amnesty is urging the government to take immediate action, specifically to criminalize witchcraft accusations and ritual attacks through legislation, ensure access to justice and reparations for victims, close the witch camps with adequate support for residents, and launch a long-term campaign to end discriminatory beliefs.
Camps in Ghana, findings that remind us of the urgent and heartbreaking reality that many elderly women continue to face. These so-called witch camps are not places of refuge. They are symbols of fear, exclusion, and deep-seated injustice. The findings are a stark reminder of the harsh realities that many elderly women continue to endure, banished, mistreated, and living in fear simply because of harmful accusations of witchcraft. These are not isolated cases. They reflect a systemic failure to protect some of our most vulnerable citizens. It is a failure rooted in deeply entrenched gender biases, harmful traditional beliefs, and the absence of strong legal protections to prevent such abuses. We cannot allow this injustice to continue, ladies and gentlemen. The government has a duty, both moral and constitutional, to act decisively. That is why today we make clear and urgent call for legislative action to protect elderly women from these baseless accusations and the violence that often followed.
Before we move into international news, you can watch us live on Facebook at Big Family Radio and also follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Big Family Radio. Also, you can also follow us on YouTube or TikTok at Big Family Radio and Big Family TV. You can read more of these stories on our website at bigfamilyonline.com. Now moving on to the international stories. Harvard University is facing a potential loss of $9 billion in federal funding after refusing to comply with demands from the Trump administration, setting the stage for a high-stakes showdown over university autonomy. In a statement released on X app, Harvard asserted its commitment to independence and constitutional rights, stating, "The university will not surrender its independence or relinquish its constitutional rights. Neither Harvard nor any other private university can allow itself to be taken over by the federal government." Harvard President Alan Garber emphasized the importance of academic freedom, arguing that no government, regardless of which party is in power, should dictate what private universities can teach, whom they can admit and hire, and which areas of study and inquiry they can pursue. The university's decision to challenge the administration's demands has ignited a debate about the balance between federal oversight and institutional autonomy in higher education. The potential financial ramifications for Harvard and the broader implications for private universities still remain uncertain. In a further escalation of tensions between the Trump administration and Harvard University, the U.S. Department of Education announced on Monday that it is freezing approximately $2.3 billion in federal funding to the institution, according to Reuters. This action follows Harvard's earlier refusal to comply with certain demands from the government, raising questions about the balance between federal oversight and institutional autonomy in higher education. The funding freeze could have wide-ranging consequences for Harvard, affecting its ability to conduct research, provide financial assistance to students, and maintain its current level of academic programming. The Department of Education has yet to release a detailed explanation for the decision. Still on international news, over 500,000 immigrants from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela who were admitted into the U.S. under a Biden-era mass parole program will retain their legal status thanks to a ruling by U.S. District Court Judge Indi Watarwani. The Obama-appointed judge blocked efforts by the Trump administration to rescind their legal standing. This decision represents a significant setback for the Trump administration's attempt to reverse immigration policies enacted under President Biden, and it offers continued protection to a vulnerable population of immigrants who were initially granted entry under humanitarian considerations. Away from that story, former Trump administration official Stephen Miller has sharply criticized a recent court ruling that blocked the administration's effort to revoke the legal status of over 500,000 immigrants who entered the U.S. under a Biden-era parole program. In a statement, Miller described the ruling as judicial tyranny and accused the presiding judge of being a Marxist. He further asserted that the ruling amounts to a legal insurrection against democracy itself and alleged that the Biden administration criminally flew the immigrants into American towns. In other stories, a young teenager in Los Angeles was injured after being struck by a BMW while riding a bicycle on the sidewalk. The driver of the BMW reportedly intentionally hit the teen before fleeing the scene. The incident has sparked outrage and concern within the community, with residents expressing fears about pedestrian safety and demanding swift action from law enforcement to apprehend the driver. The investigation is ongoing, and police are appealing to the public for assistance in identifying the suspect and the vehicle. Still on the international stories, Victor Martinez Hernandez, a 24-year-old undocumented immigrant, has been found guilty by a Harford County, Maryland jury in the murder and sexual assault of Rachel Maureen, a 37-year-old mother of 5 from Bel Air, Maryland. The verdict delivered concludes a high-profile case that has gripped the Harford County community since Maureen's disappearance in August 2023. Martinez Hernandez was convicted on charges of first-degree premeditated murder, first-degree sexual assault, third-degree sexual offense, and kidnapping. The prosecution presented evidence throughout the trial that described the key evidence, DNA evidence linking Martinez Hernandez to the crime scene, witness testimony placing him in the area. Maureen's disappearance sparked a massive search effort involving law enforcement, community volunteers, and family members. The case has also reignited discussions about immigration policy and public safety in the region. Still on the international stories, Vermont U.S. District Court Judge Honorable Williams Kenneth Sessions III evoked the All Writ Act to issue a temporary order blocking the deportation or transfer of Mohsen Madawi, a Columbia University student, out of the state. Madawi, who has been described as a supporter of Hamas, was arrested by HSI agents on Monday while attending a U.S. citizenship appointment in Colchester, Vermont. Judge Sessions' order states, in order to preserve this court's jurisdiction and pursuant to the All Writ Acts 28 U.S.C. 1651, it is ordered that the petitioner, Mohsen Madawi, not be removed from the United States or moved out of the territory of the District of Vermont, pending further order of this court. Cody Palmer, 38, remains in custody after being denied bail on charges stemming from an incident Sunday morning in which he allegedly threw 2 Molotov cocktails at the Pennsylvania governor's state residence. Upon his arrest, Baumer reportedly displayed nonchalant attitude, that is, sticking his tongue out as if he was bored, as he exited the police vehicle. During the bail hearing, when asked by the judge about a history of mental illness, Baumer stated, "That's the rumor, but no, ma'am." The judge, despite acknowledging that Baumer turned himself in, deemed him a flight risk and ordered him to be held without bail. Carmelo Anthony, a 17-year-old accused of fatally stabbing Austin Metcalf at a Frisco, Texas, track meet, has been released from jail after a Collin County judge reduced his bond from $1 million to $250,000 million. Collin County Court records Anthony, who has been detained since April 2nd, is now under house arrest and must wear an ankle monitor. As part of his release conditions, the judge has also prohibited Anthony from using social media, contacting his classmates, or participating in any school-related activities. Away from that story, and now we are moving into the entertainment world. UK-based Ghanaian musician Reggie Zippy has publicly aired his grievances against his ex-wife, Edith Ward, alleging ongoing torture related to their children. In a recent Facebook post, Zippy expressed frustration with what he describes as her efforts to turn his children against him, hindering his attempts to rebuild their relationship post-divorce. Zippy suggests his ex-wife's family members are complicit, stating he hopes they will tell her to stop turning his children against him. He characterizes the situation as parental alienation and character assassination, saying he felt compelled to speak out before he dies in silence. Despite these struggles, Zippy maintains he is at peace with his life, but fears false narratives will damage his legacy after his death. Moving on to the last story. Ghanaian actress and socialite Efia Odo has entered the debate on body enhancements, arguing that true fulfillment comes from within, specifically through faith in Jesus Christ, rather than external changes like plastic surgery. In a recent post on the X app, formerly known as Twitter, Odo stated that plastic surgery doesn't fix insecurities. You must be self-validated within. Nothing outside of you can save you apart from being in Christ. Since announcing her spiritual transformation last year November, declaring herself born again, Odo has been vocal about her commitment to a Christ-centered path. Her perspective aligns with actress Yvonne Nelson, who has also expressed disapproval of cosmetic surgeries, citing a lack of self-confidence as the motivation. To end the news, the recap of the headlines. The Chief of Staff has led the second Kwewu Business Forum event to boost entrepreneurship. I feel tempted to laugh at how the NDC is struggling to fight Galamsey, says Miracle Abuaje. National Road Safety Authority has ordered 21 days removal of billboards from footbridges and overpass in Greater Accra region. Harvard raised $9 billion in funding fight with Trump administration. Efia Odo has said the only thing that can bring happiness is Jesus Christ and not plastic surgery. To acknowledge my sponsors, Big Family Multimedia Institute, BFM Store, Trustees Network Group, and Center for Trade. You can also follow us or watch us live on Facebook at Big Family Radio, and you can also follow us on Instagram at Big Family Radio, YouTube and TikTok at Big Family Radio and Big Family TV. You can read more of these stories on our page at bigfamilyonline.com. Thank you for listening to News at 6. A massive thank you to my producers. My name is Esther Akosiagbobli. Have a good evening.
Admission